achieved.
Hey, what's up everyone, I'm Scylol, and today we're going to take a look at the Warrior, which won in a landslide last week. The Warrior is a heavy armor profession in Guild Wars 2, and becomes stronger as fights develop. A lot of people who have played MMOs have a negative outlook on the Warrior, such as myself, just because the skill requirement is always so low, and in return is a very powerful character. I think it was Colin Johansson who said in a question and answers that the Warrior will be one of the easier professions, but trust me, the Warrior in Guild Wars 2 is anything but your herp derp warrior class. The Warrior's unique ability starts with their adrenaline bar. Every time the Warrior attacks, they gain adrenaline. The adrenaline bar has 3 stages, and each stage will give a passive damage bonus to each of the Warrior's attacks. The adrenaline is used for the Warrior's burst skills. Each weapon that the Warrior can yield has its own burst skill, and will improve at higher stages of adrenaline. Higher levels of adrenaline can do things such as adding conditions to the enemy, or simply just increasing the damage of the burst. The Warrior has 2 trait lines called Power and Tactics, and also a trait line for all of the weapons they can use. The Power trait line focuses on general buffs to the character, such as buffs to Vitality, reducing stun duration, or even increasing the damage of environmental weapons. The Tactic trait line targets defensive upgrades, such as increased armor, increasing the duration of banners, and reducing the recharge of weapon switching. Since this is the Warrior profession, let's get detail on each of the main hand weapons they can use. We'll start with the two-handed weapons first. A Hammer Warrior uses his strength to devastate foes by pounding the ground with area attacks that affect multiple enemies. A Warrior that is using a Great Sword will deal area of effect damage. Using a Longbow will deal AoE fire damage from range. The Rifle is a single target based weapon that will give the Warrior the ability to finish off fleeing foes. The single-handed weapons are the Mace, the Axe, and the Sword. A Mace Warrior will stun enemies and inflict vulnerability on them, making them susceptible to increased damage. A Warrior with a Sword will leap around the battlefield, inflicting his enemies with bleeds. An Axe Warrior builds up his adrenaline the quickest and delivers damage and spikes. A Warrior has 19 different ways to combine weapons, which is the most in the game. Although they have access to 4 offhands, their role in combat is defined by their main hand weapon. A Warrior that can switch between each of his weapons properly will be very effective. This profession by nature is meant to be right up in your face, dealing tons of damage, but don't underestimate the Warrior's potential to deal damage from afar. The Warrior has access to many different types of skills. The first we'll take a look at are Shouts. Shouts affect a large area around the Warrior and give buffs to allies or debuff enemies. Shouts will do things such as removing all conditions from allies, calling out a target and making them vulnerable, or even rallying downed allies around the Warrior. The next skill types are Banners. Calling down a banner will buff allies near it. This banner is an environmental weapon and anyone can pick it up to move it to a new location to buff allies. The Warrior is also one of the few professions that have access to charge skills. Charge skills can be held down to do more damage and have 4 different power levels that will adjust the magnitude of the skill. Warriors also have chain skills, which are a set of 3 skills that occupy the same slot on your action bar. Using the first one will make the second one available, then the third. There is a set time that the player gets to use the second and the third part of the chain. The last skill type for the Warrior are Stances. These skills are toggleable skills that will hurt your energy regeneration, which is used for your dodging. Stances might do things such as increase adrenaline regeneration or block incoming attacks. That's all for this week guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the like button below and to subscribe to the channel. I'll catch y'all next week.